Sifter for the ear.
News, interviews, reviews, cinema, TV, streaming. Action!
Hi, y'all. This is Jerry Williams, a.k.a. TV Jerry. The Richmond Folk Festival is about to have its 20th anniversary, and VPM, along with Venture Richmond and the festival itself, have produced a documentary to celebrate the occasion. It'll premiere on September 17th at 8 p.m. on VPM stations and live-streamed on the PBS app.
People are saying this is the end of the world, James.
We can't start panicking.
Take it easy.
What are you gonna do?
The Beaver will not relent. By destroying Earth, she believes she's saving the shepherds. You're the only one who can stop it.
I won't do that to my family.
This is what you were made for.
Not anymore.
That was a clip from the trailer for Saturn, which starts when a mysterious planet appears in the sky about to crash into Earth, and a young father must decide between his family and saving the world. It'll have its world premiere at the opening night for this year's Richmond International Film Festival on Tuesday, September 24th at the Byrd Theater. Today's show features director Eric Esau and producer Douglas Haines as they talk about the incredible challenges they faced making this movie.
Sifter Review of the Week.
The Killer on Peacock. In 1989, John Woo directed this title for the first time, and it solidified his rep as an inventive action director. 35 years later, he's still got it. This new version stars Nathalie Emmanuel as yet another hired assassin. She quickly dispatches her assignments with stealth skill until one especially bloody massacre sends her on the run with one of the victims. Meanwhile, there's a rogue cop on her trail, Omar C. The plot has the usual deceptions and double crosses, but the fights are full of clever kills and quick, brutal encounters. Luckily, the performances add a level of personal involvement to create more of a drama from the by-the-numbers plot. Story isn't why you see a Woo movie anyway. It's for the fights, and this film continually delivers. I gave The Killer 3.5 out of 5 stars. Douglas Haines and Eric Esau, welcome to Sifter for the Ear.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
So first of all, who are each of you and what did you do on the movie? What's your background?
This is Douglas. I'm Douglas Haines. I'm one of the writers and the producer on Saturn. I've been doing video production and live video production for a long time. Some of my background was in live events for nonprofits, and then I've been working with Eric for, who knows how long. I think we made our first movie together when we were in 7th grade, and we're both 37 now. The first movie it's lovely, but it was no good, and it will hopefully never see the light of day. But one day, maybe in the special features, you'll get a screening of The Lost Ball of Hanquo, and if so, you could say you heard it first here on the podcast.
It doesn't sound too pretentious either. The Lost Ball of... Sounds like we got some game nerds there.
Yeah,
there's deep meaning there, Jerry. It's very significant.
So I was going to ask you how you guys connected, but obviously you've been friends forever. So Eric, what's your background? You're the director on the film.
Yep. Writer-director on the movie. This is my 4th feature, but my first narrative feature film. And, been working in the industry, in the independent industry for a minute now. We started shooting the movie in January of 2020. Thinking that we're heading off on the new decade with the wind at our backs. And, we were met with a lot of obstacles during shooting. But I've been with Douglas making movies for a long time now. So it's been a real gift to make movies with your friends. My wife, also a writer, producer, production designer on Saturn as well. It's quite the family affair. Our sister-in-law, she was a production designer as well with costumes too. So it's been a wonderful season of creating content with those that you love, and I'm very grateful for it.
And it's funny, every time y'all say, well, I'm here on Saturn, I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, you mean the movie, not the planet.
Yeah.
So it's a science fiction movie, and it starts out planets, and you think, ooh, we're going to go out in space. And wait, no, it's a sci-fi drama. Obviously, budget, I'm sure, played a big part in it, but where did the idea for this come about?
I learned that the gas giants in our solar system, they act like shepherds or sentinels or guards for Earth, that they pull asteroids and comets into their orbit and take hits for Earth. So I kind of was thinking, well, that's kind of a fun idea. You have these Greek and Roman god figures that are protecting Earth. That actually happens. What would it look like if we sort of built out a world that had these beings that have been here for a long time and that are here to protect Earth and do take these hits for us, that they're here to sacrifice themselves should they need to protect Earth. But what happens if one of them has felt like the world just shouldn't need protecting anymore, that he can have his own life and live a normal, quiet life. And he has this beautiful life with his wife and son. And of course, that gets upended when a planet appears and it's on a collision course for Earth, and he's the only one that can stop it. But he wants to hold on to his beautiful life. And so from that, we just built the forces of antagonism and the conflict around that. We, of course, thinking, about the budget, of course, but we wanted to really focus in on the relationship. So it is a drama first with science fiction elements around it, and really to ground a superhero movie into normal life. What would it be like if the only way for you to stop this planet is to give yourself to it? But what happens if your wife relapses into her old addiction? How do you deal with the conflict and the struggles that you have in your family while also dealing with this cosmic conflict that's in the works?
Right, right. You mentioned already the son, Elijah Maximus, only his third movie. He was amazing. You were very lucky with him. How did you find him? Just a general audition?
I think we had a digital casting call. We worked with the great casting director, Jamie Gallagher, that helped out a lot. And I think she found him. The great thing about Elijah was, it was his third film. In our experience, when you hire a child, actually you also hire the parents.
Right.
You hire the whole kind of team that goes around him. And the whole crew that came out and stayed with us on the Washington coast for a month and then 2 weeks for pickups afterwards was just great. Yeah, the kid had amazing innate talent, especially kind of at the end when he has to.
I was going to mention that scene. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of, he has to emote a lot he carries a lot of the emotion, at least on screen in a number of different places. Not only was Elijah really great in front of the camera, he was also really great just in the wings, just always ready, always excited, could take another take. Like he would be really, really emotional and crying and Eric would call cut and he'd perk right up and go, okay, you want to do it again?
Wow.
And then Eric would go into another take and he'd go right back in it and hit his mark every time. And
wow. How did you get him to cry like that? I mean, we've heard stories about they tell him their dog is dead or whatever, but he just turned it on. He's just a natural, I guess.
He's very good. And Louis, Elijah's dad, is very much a fantastic coach and has helped Elijah on his journey of acting. And he would be able to talk to Elijah before the take and just get him settled, get him ready. I would talk to Elijah, explain what the scene is, what's happening, what's going on. But he knew the script inside and out. He knew everybody else's lines.
Wow.
And so he just fully immersed himself in his character, in his role.
And how old was he during the shoot?
He just turned 7, I think.
Okay. Now, the effects, obviously there's one effect that it's not a spoiler alert because it's in the posters, but there's this giant planet. Talk about the special effects, because that's in there a lot. That had to be a challenge to constantly have that in the shots all the time.
Yeah, it is a planet Nibiru, which is Planet 9 or Planet X. So we worked very closely with Chris Wells. He is a fantastic visual effects artist and supervisor. He's worked on, Douglas helped me out, Avatar and the Avengers movies.
All of Avengers movies. He put
Star
Captain
Wars,
America in the ice. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He's an industry vet. And so we worked with him for, it was about a year on all the visual effects. And obviously we had some other artists too that contributed beautifully. But getting the planet right and in so many different shots was tricky. And it was masterful to see him work.
The giant cylindrical space that they go into at one point, was that a real space or was that visual effects?
That's so funny because originally some of those scenes were supposed to just take place in like a really natural environment in the forest. And then we were out scouting out on the coast of Washington one day and just kind of looking around at Google Maps as an indie producer without a location scout does.
Right.
And we found the Satsuma Business Park, which was in the 80s, a nuclear reactor and cooling tower that was about an hour and a half from our location.
That's what it looked like, yeah.
We were out there in the middle of January, around 35 degrees. And one time while we were in that large cylindrical kind of cooling tower, it actually started to snow.
Oh, wow.
And so you could see, I don't know if that thankfully didn't come through on camera for continuity reasons.
And then the other world, when they go to the other world, we'll leave it at that. I'm assuming that was a practical location somewhere very different.
Yeah, exactly right. That's near the gorge in central Washington that we filmed at. Of course, we added visual effects elements on top of it, an atmosphere with stars and stuff. But
Right,
it's a real location. That's a real river. It was pretty wild. During one of our takes, we started hearing this like sound, and we looked over. We see two fighter jets that are flying through the canyon, and it was below us. It was below set, so we were all looking out and seeing these fighter jets shoot by. So it's a pretty awesome spot.
And it had its own little challenges. We had to stop a scene once because I think one of the workers there, saw a rattlesnake a few yards away from set. Got wind picked up something like 25, 30 miles an hour. So we had to pause and break down all the lighting gear for a while because we were, out exposed to the elements.
Wow.
So I mentioned we have 35 degrees when we were filming in the cooling tower, and it was 100 plus in Eastern Washington for our reshoots. Can hit all sides of it.
Surprise guest drop in.
You're way out there on the West Coast. Somebody on the East Coast wants to drop in and say hello to you guys.
Oh my God, Heather! Oh, it's so surprising to see you. How are you? Oh my God.
Footnote.
That enthusiastic response and the subsequent laughter was because Heather had signed in once and we had tech issues. So this is take 2, and producer Douglas Haines was showing his surprise acting chops. Heather, by the way, is Heather Waters, executive director of the Richmond International Film Festival.
Douglas and Eric, we can't wait to see you at RIFF in just a few weeks. Yeah, it's going to be a really fun, exciting week. Kicking off on that Tuesday, the 24th, is, of course, Saturn. Douglas and Eric will be joining us and several folks from the cast, and we're thrilled about that. I think Richmond is going to absolutely love their film. Later that night, of course, we've got some special films for those folks that like to stay up a little later at the Bird Theater. And then the rest of the week, there really is something for everybody. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we've got films showing simultaneously at the Bird Theater and BTM cinemas. And of course, there's narratives and documentaries, short film format and long format films, and tons of special events. Several of them we do every year because they're very popular with, the public and, of course, the filmmakers. And then our musicians. So we have about 20 live music acts that'll be performing throughout the week. Panels, mixers, parties, lots of red carpets. We're also at the Virginia Museum of History and Culture again this year on that Sunday. We have a really special spotlight there this year on voices of the community and justice, kind of looking at returning citizens and several different panels. We've got tons of guests coming in all over the world, 175 films. And like I said, I think 26 countries are represented in the lineup this year.
Wow.
So it's going to be an action-packed week, all 6 days. We'd love for people to come out and try something different, a little different every day so that they can really experience what the festival is all about.
And this film, in a way, Heather, too, is a little unique because I don't recall, and of course I've been every year, any real heavy-duty science fiction films before.
Yeah, this is really our first big sci-fi drama in opening night, I will say. And I think what really struck me about it, number one, Eric, Douglas, and their whole team did just a terrific job with it. The production quality is just beautiful to look at. It really, I think, shows the independent spirit of filmmaking and how they crafted this project together and brought it to life. And of course, this will be the world premiere, and RIFF, is just so thrilled to have that at the Bird Theater.
And I will have to comment that it does not look like an indie film.
That's right. It does not.
Jerry, you honor us. Honor us. I am so honored. But I will say, listen, and Heather knows this very well, people still love indie film.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, people will go out and watch Captain America all day long for sure, but there's still a great market for indie film. And so we're super excited to be premiering at RIFF. And Heather and the whole team have been super, super helpful. Showing opening night is a real honor, and we're really, really excited about being there and bringing some of the cast and crew. I think our writer and production designer is going to be there. The production design team is going to be there. Production designer is going to be there.
I think they're married to one of the other people, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
That's convenient. Yeah, right.
Also, the DP is going to be there opening night, and then we're trying to get both the leads there.
I think that's one of the things too, Jerry, that makes, it special for those people out there listening to the podcast who haven't experienced a film festival to be able to, yes, see this film before it hits the theaters, but also to shake hands and say hello and hear directly from the filmmakers. There's not a barrier there. Film festivals really are a beautiful way to get up close and personal. And one other quick thing about the film, it looks like a studio film, but in addition, it's got some real depth to it. A lot of other little threads running in there, on love and relationship and sacrifice and a little bit on addiction, but it's empowering at the same time. And I think the audience is going to be inspired.
Well, Heather, thank you so much for dropping in. As you already know, unfortunately, I'm going to miss the first half of the festival. I'll be gone, guys. I'll be in Europe when you're here, but good luck with the festival. And thank you so much for dropping in, Heather.
Thank you, Jerry, for all you do. And Eric and Douglas, we're looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Yeah,
Thanks so much,
absolutely.
Heather. Can't wait.
Now, let's go back and talk to you. You mentioned earlier COVID, and you had to work during COVID. That must have been loads of fun. Was this before they had all the protocols yet, or were y'all still trying to figure some of that out?
Oh, yes, Jerry. It was okay. So we start shooting January of 2020. Wind is at our back. Everything is lovely. However, we got battered by the weather. I mean, just battered. It was 4 inches above record rainfall. We had hurricane grade winds. We had snow, power outages. There was a tornado in the town next door.
Wow.
Douglas had a kidney stone and was in the hospital. We extended shooting for a week because we're like, we have not captured the entire movie. But Douglas, him and his wife were due with their baby, I think like a few days after the last day that we could possibly shoot. So we're like, okay, look, we still have not been able to finish the movie. We shot 3/4 of the movie, 3/4. We still have quite a bit left. We'll come back in a couple of months. Douglas will have his baby and we'll all be refreshed. It'll still be the winter. It'll all look the same. We'll come back in a couple of months.
Yeah.
No big deal. Well, a couple of months later is March 2020. COVID hits and we have no idea what we are doing. Protocols were non-existent at the time.
We were up in Washington State, and if you'll remember, like patient 0 was in Washington State.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm up in Washington, and I live in Las Vegas, and my wife calls me and goes, "Hey, they're talking about like this flu thing that's up," and I'm going, "It's no big deal, babe. We're totally fine. I'll be back, and we'll have the baby. It all will be well, and we'll premiere the movie 6 months later, no problem." Of course, it hit, and we went, what are we going to do? Not only what are we going to do, we'll just wait for all this to blow over. We can't really do that because we talked about Elijah. That kid's grown up.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him, if he's able to come out for at RIFF or another one of the showings at festivals, because he looks drastically different. We were the first SAG union show to go back in Washington State.
Wow.
In fact, so much so that some of the templates and frameworks and stuff that we ended up creating, they ended up using for further shows to go back. We're all outdoors, 30, 40, 50 feet away from each other. We all have masks on because nobody knew anything, but ended up coming back for 10 days of additional stuff. And then we talk about Elijah growing up. He rapped, and the day after he rapped,
Elijah had already lost a tooth after we were done filming.
Oh,
so we're like, oh no, oh goodness. Then we come back filming and his adult tooth has grown out. At the time, it's just at the same length as his baby teeth.
Oh, wow.
And so if you look really closely, a couple scenes, you might see him have an adult tooth, and the next scene he has a baby tooth, but you can't tell because they're the same length. But the day after we finished filming, he loses his other baby tooth and would have just a big gap there. And then we would have, had a whole nother visual effects thing we had to deal with.
Yeah, it sounds like you got lucky. Now, you mentioned crappy weather. A whole lot of the final act of this is shot on that big expanse of beach. And I kept thinking, you got to do all this coverage. And how frustrating was it to be on that beach? Or did you just get lucky every time and not have the weather change that much?
No.
Don't look too close.
You're very kind. You're very kind. There's a few shots where continuity is missing. But, we did our best and we had to shoot it. Some scenes have rain in it. Some don't. But we did our best in color to match the highlights and the shadows and the blacks. And and the whites to make it look like it was balanced enough. But yeah, there's some moments where there's rain in one shot and not rain in the other.
Now that you told me, because I know at the end you credit Washington State during the pandemic, snow, sleet, rain, and so on. So obviously now I know why that's in the credits.
The other thing we didn't anticipate is, I mean, we should have anticipated, anybody who, now we know, is you film in Washington State, you're up pretty far north. You film in the winter, you have significantly fewer hours of daylight.
Ah, yeah.
I mean, sun started setting at something like 4:30 in the afternoon. So we thought we'd get out there and we'd have, full 10 if we had to push it 12-hour days, and we just didn't have it. Anything that had to look like the middle of the day had to be shot at literally lunchtime.
Anna, my wife, producer, writer, production designer, whole many things, and Douglas, we would wake up, at 4 or 5 in the morning, and would bring in the DP and a couple other folks, and would just change the entire schedule because the weather was changing, right. The light was different. Our idea of, okay, well, it's going to be a 4-week shoot, and we're going to shoot all this on this day and this day. A lot of just had to get thrown out. We had to adjust and do our best to capture the entire movie.
Is your next movie going to all be on a soundstage?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
No, there's so much beauty in capturing nature and the environment, having that be a character. And we really tried to lead into that. The environment matters, and the look of our setting and our characters within it, it plays its own character in the movie.
I just want to comment. That was the director, and the producer is the one said, yeah, we'll be in the soundstage next
time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you better really will be in the soundstage.
Yes.
What's next for the movie after RIFF?
The premiere at RIFF will be the world premiere, so we're super, super excited about it. But then we've also gotten accepted to a few other festivals, and I was just about to name them, but I'm not allowed to name them.
There you go.
Yet, apparently. And we're in talks with a couple different distributors that seem to be excited about it. I don't know if it's their job to make it sound like they're excited about it, but we've had a really positive reaction from most everybody who's seen the film and the trailer. Like, I keep telling this to Eric, what's next for the movie is to get it out there, to get the most people to see it. Absolutely.
So obviously we talked about the science fiction aspects and the visual effects and all that. There is a drama behind that too. Talk a little bit about what that drama is about and why that's so important to the movie.
I don't want to give too much of it away, but there's a planet on a collision course headed for Earth, and James is the only one that can stop it. And Sarah, who is one of our other leads, she relapses into her old addiction, and her past trauma of abuse resurfaces, and she starts to go down a path that is very challenging for her, as well as for James, her husband, and their son, George. It's even, no matter where we are in our story, we still have a purpose, and that purpose can be wildly significant in people's lives. And even if you don't see the victory, even if you don't see the result of it, it doesn't mean that there's not tremendous beauty in all of our choices to do good and to love.
One last question I always like to ask everybody. When you're not promoting your film or getting ready for your next one, what are you watching?
It's all the things, Jerry. Rewatch Lord of the Rings or Casablanca or I love watching football, and I love watching sports, and we watch the Kardashians. We're watching A Gentleman in Moscow right now, or Survivor. So it's quite the gambit, because I enjoy watching content and either being entertained or being moved. And preferably my favorites is when both are happening at the same time.
Douglas, what about you?
My wife is watching a lot of Love is Blind.
Okay.
So I'm watching a lot of trashy reality TV with her, because that really...
Don't put that on her. Don't put that on her.
Yeah. Just trying to support.
Right.
But other than that, I'm doing a lot of reading and letting my eyes rest from a lot of the corporate work that we're doing.
Guys, thank you so much. This has been great. I'm sorry I'm not going to be here to see you in person, but I enjoyed the movie, and congratulations on getting to have your premiere here.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jerry.
Thanks for having us.
That was director Eric Esau and producer Douglas Haines talking about their sci-fi drama, Saturn. It'll have its world premiere at the opening night for this year's Richmond International Film Festival on Tuesday, September 24th at the Bird Theater. I'll have a link on the webpage for this show at tvjerry.com.
Coming soon. In theaters.
Beetlejuice. The much-awaited sequel reunites the original cast, again directed by Tim Burton. The Front Room. Brandy takes the lead in this week's thriller about a newly pregnant couple that are forced to take in a weird stepmother. This is the first directorial effort for writers Max and Sam Eggers. The Thickest. The latest actor to hit the bounty hunter genre is Peter Dinklage in this Western action drama, also with Juliette Lewis looking very different. Tokyo Cowboy. This is a different kind of cowboy movie about a Japanese businessman who travels to Montana to help the cattlemen boost their business. I'll Be Right There. Edie Falco stars as a busybody who tries to take care of everyone in her family. Cast includes Jeannie Berlin, Bradley Whitford, and Michael Rappaport.
TV and streaming.
English Teacher on FX and Hulu. Brian Jordan Alvarez created and stars as a gay high school English teacher in Austin, Texas. Fight Night, The $1 Million Heist on Peacock. This 70s heist flick stars Kevin Hart as an Atlanta hustler who's planning a big bash for Ali's return to the ring, but it goes sideways. It's based on a true story and also stars Samuel L. Jackson, Taraji P. Henson, Don Cheadle, and Terrence Howard. The Perfect Couple on Netflix. A wedding of rich folks in Nantucket goes foul when a dead body appears on the beach, starring Nicole Kidman, Liev Schreiber, and Dakota Fanning. The Old Man on FX. Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow return in this twisty mystery. Wise Guy, David Chase in The Sopranos on Max, a documentary about the famed series and its creator. I will actually be on vacation for the next 3 weeks, but I do have a new show next week featuring another new film that's premiering at the Bird, not part of RIFF, called Solitude. This is Jerry Williams. Thanks for listening.
For more Sister, including literally thousands of reviews,
Visit tvjerry.com.
That's a wrap.